Hi everyone, my name is Sasha and I'm the founder of Hulse. I'm going to walk you through quickly today how can you use Hulse as a scientist, a researcher, or a developer to make some proof of concepts or experiments using some open source natural language processing models from the Hugging Face Model Hub. As you may have seen in a previous video, or otherwise you can find that instructions to get started on our documentations webpage. You need to create a cluster, download the macOS app, and have your team do the same in order to get started with Pulse. And after that, you're ready to go. You have your API key, and we're going to walk you through how can you get started with the Python client to use those models. You can find the Python client on GitHub and on PyPy. It's available for download. The Python client is really simple so far. You only have really one function that's interesting to us right now, which is the query function, which allows you to run queries given a task, some data, and an API key. The API key is what we've seen in the dashboard right here. Your task is a task supported by the Hugging Face natural language processing library. So all of these tasks here, you can find the explicit tasks supported right there. So these are all the tasks that are supported. And then the last component that you need is some data. So right now we only support text data, but eventually we'll move towards increased support of other data types. Yep. And so here I'm going to show you a quick example of how to create a Twitter sentiment pipeline. So let's say they're trying to analyze some tweets. How can you get started and analyze those? So let's say that you're interested in analyzing some tweets. So maybe you're conducting a computational social science project where you're trying to gauge for the political polarization of a bunch of users. So now you're looking at millions of tweets and you want to gauge whether or not the users are more negative or positive in their thoughts. A very good way to do that is using some text classification algorithms to get the sentiment out of the text that you're seeing. Now, if you're trying to analyze millions of tweets, which means hundreds of millions of characters, using a cloud API, that might become very expensive very quickly. Your alternative is hosting it yourself, but that again is pretty expensive and will become resource intensive because you'll have to develop the API to do the entire service setup. What Hulse allows you to do is basically have the simplicity of doing things locally on your computer just for yourself, but giving you a bit more scale. So it gives you the ability to use your computing power of your team's personal computers. So right now we're going to focus on our text classification algorithms from the Hugging Face Model Hub. So this model specifically. And we're going to develop a sample web app where we can just input our API key and then give a Twitter URL and things are handled in the background. Here I have a copy of my project with the Streamlit app that I have set up. So you see that we have, this is just a sender Streamlit where when we enter a tweet URL, it's going to convert this URL into a tweet object, which is going to be able to extract the text and then forward that to our cluster using the Hulse post. So we're going to get started and log into our app. So we have our host running in the background. And then at the same time, we are going to start our examples tweet. Run. All right. So let's log in. So this is our Hulse desktop app logging in. And this is our Streamlit app getting started. So it seems like our host, we successfully logged in from our interface. So let's copy that key with this window. Let's start the host. All right, our host seems to be running. All right, so here's our interface. Let's enter our API key. And now we'll need to find the tweet, Twitter URL. So we're going to select the tweet that we want to analyze for sentiment. So it's just fine. Yeah, perhaps this tweet. All right. So now what's happening in the background is the model is getting loaded on my desktop app and it is getting forward. Here you see we have our text getting showed, and we have the sentiment receiving from it. It's mainly positive, which makes sense. So right now we've walked you through how to use Hulse to analyze some text for tweets. What you could do eventually is, let's say you have a team of 10 people, you could have the app running on the 10 computers and then have uploaded a large file of tweets, which is going to be available soon. And all of them are going to be dispatched to the individual computers.